like so. If you look at the one connection, that there is exactly the same shape. 7 pins on the audio gateway. You can see the 2 little holes, which are originally for the fiber optic loop. And this is where I connect into until I get the right harness to fully install it. Let's put it all back together again. It looks amazing, by the way. So yes, the day's finally here. We're going to get the A-Shore out. I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do. I need to remind myself because I had taken this radio out before, but it's been a while. This command unit on this Mercedes SL, it's been in 21 years. Just think of the technology back then. And it still astounds me what this actually could do. It's got hands-free capability. It's got sat-nav on it. It even has a voice command system as well. But times have moved on. It's not touchscreen. And if you have an issue with your command screen, to replace one of these for the original ones, you are talking serious money. Thousands of bucks, by the way. But yet, we can bring it up to 2025 and have far more capability than you could ever dream of by this A-Shore touchscreen 8-core series. So let's get it removed. This, by the way, is just my foam mount if you're wondering what it is. Just going to move it out of the way here. Now, to get this command unit out, sometimes there's screws on the top of the vents in here. When I removed it on my car, 8 years ago, I didn't have that. I just had 2 screws, which is behind the cup holder. So the first thing you need to do is actually remove this center piece of trim here, which is just below the cup holders and goes back to your armrest. Now, I'm sitting on the left-hand side. I always like to do that when I'm doing car stereos because I'm right-handed. I can get in and around things. All right, start by taking these side panels off. Just drop the seat right down, so that it's below the height of the bottom there. And then roughly in the middle here, I always find that's the easiest part to get your fingers in. If you haven't done it before, it might be quite stiff, but if you've done it once or twice, it will come out quite easy. So just pull, like that. So now, once you've pulled all the clips out, you remove it by just tilting it upwards. There you go. Easy as that. And once you've removed it, a little tip for you is you might find a little bit of silicone spray on these, just helps you the next time. If any come off like that one has there, just remember to remove it from where it got stuck. And then of course, do the same on the passenger side. Oh, a couple of coffee drips there from my cup holder. Okay, make sure your foot brake is on in case you're parked on a slight hill, because we need to move the gear shifter now into the neutral position. And that's just going to give you just that little bit more leeway to now remove the center console. Right, well, let's start by removing where the cup holder covers are. I've got a little remote control on here, you won't have that, and they kind of twist up that way. You can get a little pry tool. I've got this in my Groove On shop. Just choose one that you think is going to fit. I like to use quite a wide one because then it spreads the load there, and just sort of twist them up a little bit. There you go. And that's one. As I said, just got my remote button on that. You don't need to worry about that. And then likewise on the actual cup holder itself, you can actually get your hands in there now and just sort of twist it. Like so. So that's the 2 cup holder covers removed. Now you'll look down here, there's 2 screws. Right, so with all those side screws now removed, and remember the 2 which are kind of hidden down near the armrest, get yourself your pry tool once more and start at the bottom, but just take your time and just gently go in, because you don't want to end up cracking the nice veneer. And you can see there, look, it's starting to come. And once you've got it kind of going, I like to open the little ashtray here and just sort of give myself a little bit of a wiggle. There you go. There. And once you get it to this position, you can just kind of twist it. Keep the wires all connected, and that's you. Now you've got all this space to work with, and you can now get your command radio out. So the cup holders now will just be able to slide out. And unfortunately, this now is going to be made redundant, which is a shame, because I do like my cup holder and it just works beautifully. Again, 21 years old, and it's just been engineered to actually work every single time. So as I said, some radios I've noticed that you need to now remove these vent covers, and there's 2 screws just on the top which go all the way down. But for me, I don't have those screws, so I should just be able to remove this command unit now, like so. And as I said, some of them actually have 2 screws that come all the way down. I didn't seem to have that on this particular model, so maybe the older models or the later models have it, but for me, I don't need to remove the vents, so just bear that in mind. You may need to remove those and get those 2 screws. Right, command unit is out. I actually replaced the screen on this. This is a new screen because my other one got all kind of faded. I've done a video if you want to know how to do that. So I'd recommend now turning off all of the car's power. You can see on the back of the command unit, we just literally have this one connection. There's your mains cable and your orange fiber optic there. So to remove it, you just pull this little tab and just pull the plug out. That's it. And here you go, you've got a command unit, which, do you know what? That's worth thousands of pounds. I could sell that on eBay and probably make about 3 grand for that, considering I've actually put a new screen on it. But it is dated, and you might want to update things, which is why we're going with the A-Shore. So I get a real buzz and helping people out, and then that's the whole reason I do this channel. And if you want to show your appreciation, and if I've helped you in any way today, I've got a Groove On wish list on Amazon. You might want to buy me an air freshener or maybe a set of spanners or something, and it will get sent to me. It's like Christmas comes early for me, and I'll give you a shout out on my next video. Also, I've got a Groove On merch shop. Hoodies, different styles of t-shirts, bags, hats, coffee cups, drinking mugs, loads of stuff on there. The link is just below if you want to go buy some merchandise. And lastly, if you want to become a Groove On member, I'll make sure that I give you dedicated, full-on answers. I'll do my very best to solve your problem, far more than I do in my comments. I'll really look into it and do my utmost to see if I can sort your problem out. There's a member link for you in the description. So with the A-Shore stereo comes all sorts of different harnesses, and with the kit, which is specific to this car, I've got a whole load more harnesses. What's actually not that clear is, even though there is some sort of instruction manuals, the manual does give you a kind of a clear indication of what each harness is for. What it does lack a little bit is actually what connects where. So I'm going to have to kind of work this out as I go. There isn't really much online, hence why I'm doing this video, and why A-Shore has reached out for me, is to try and give a little bit of clarity. So I'm going to now start with this large cable, because just by the length of it, very much suggests that it goes to the rear of the car. And I can only envisage that goes behind this passenger seat here, because that's where I know that all the audio control module, the amplifier, the CD auto changer lives. So that's my next step now. I'm going to remove those panels and try and understand where this connects, and then work back from there to the new stereo. And what I find the easiest thing to do is actually, as we've got a convertible, let's get the roof down. It just gives you so much more maneuverability when you're working in the back there. So to start with, just lift up this bottom trim here, remove this little trim at the front. This, by the way, is my Mr. 12 volt. This is what I use on my existing radio to give me USB audio in and Bluetooth music streaming, and it takes the place of the original CD auto changer, which I've since removed. There's one little star screw here. I'll just pull back a little bit of the door trim. And right here, what we got here is the audio gateway. Underneath there is your CD auto changer, and underneath that you've got your amplifier. And what I'm looking for, which plug kind of marries up with what I've got. So this is the audio gateway. If I pull that out there, I'm literally having a look to see, are any of these and I think it's that one there. You can see the two little holes which are originally for the fibre optic loop, but it's picking up the two pins are at the back there, and those two pins are actually, there's 4 cables going into that, but it's only picking up the 2 outside ones. Just be careful you don't bend the pins. So my fibre optic here now is now pointing at nothing. The kit didn't come with any fibre optic loops, it didn't mention it, and I am hopeful that it's now going to somehow send the information via cables as opposed to the fibre optic loop. Whether that will create me faults, I need to check that on my diagnostic tool, but let's keep going, let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Then there's a larger plug here. This I'm pretty sure goes into the back of the amplifier. It looks very familiar. Right, so now I'm going to remove slightly this partition at the back, just forward, and then I can then remove the base, which is where, if I remove all my stuff, this is where your CD auto changer would have fitted. I've actually removed mine, but the amplifier sits just below it. So this is my little adapter here for my existing stereo. Just going to remove that. That there was the fibre optic that went originally into the CD auto changer, and this is the power lead that I then just branched off the existing 12 volts. There's my audio in, that one is my USB, and this one is a microphone. In the back here you need to undo 2 more star screws. With those 2 screws removed, it allows you then to lift this up. And that will now lift the cubby hole here out of the way. It sits in a groove with the screws that slot in, and they can be a bit firm, but just give it a nice firm pull. And here we go. This is my Bose amplifier. It's the upgraded model. I had to get it repaired, but nevertheless, this has a separate fan at the back. Most modules, actually, most Mercedes don't have this upgraded version. This is actually the one that they use out of a Porsche Cayenne as well. But the ones generally I've seen don't have a fan. But this is the main connection that goes into the amplifier, and you pull back the tab, and I'm hoping this is where I connect into somehow. Right, so will this plug somehow fit into this? No. Now there are connections on the bottom of the audio gateway here, which I believe this is where one of these has got to work. There's 3 pins on the supplied harness, so it's got to go into that one, surely. Yep, that looks like a good fit. All right, that's 2 of the plugs. So where's this last main one go to? I'm going to remove this audio gateway and have a look, but there's a main plug on the bottom. I've got a feeling it goes on there. By the way, you won't have these extra blue cables. This here is all my subwoofer wiring. I've got extra subs in the back, if you're wondering what that is. Right, let's get this audio gateway moved, have a look underneath it and see. There it is. So that plug there has to go in there, surely. But it doesn't. So it doesn't fit in there. I didn't have anything fitted in there before anyway. I found a home for that. I found a home for that one. So where does this one go? So after a lot of thinking and looking up different amplifiers on the internet, I think I've discovered the issue. So as you know, when I took the audio gateway off, on the bottom here, there's this plug here, which for me is actually redundant. I don't use that. And that's because I have, as I mentioned, the upgraded amp. And when I bought the car, it came with that as standard, and it also came with an AMG speed shift gearbox as well. So this had a few little extra nice toys added to it. The upgraded amp I know was very hard to find because I ended up getting this repaired, and when I tried to find a replacement one, they were really expensive. But there were loads of the other type of amp which doesn't have the fan on the back of it. It's just a standard stock amp. And I think if I had that standard stock amp, then the port on the bottom here, this plug, will be used on the audio gateway. So a couple of things to note is, you saw me removing the CD changer box to get access to the amplifier. I don't actually think you need to do that. I think all you need to do is get access to the audio gateway, which is great because you can just remove this side panel. Saves about half an hour's worth of work. For me, 10 minutes, but when you do it the first time, it'll take you longer. And if you look at the one connection that I can't find, that there is exactly the same shape. There's 7 pins on the audio gateway. There's space for 7 pins on the A-Shore connection, and whatever fitted in there on a standard Mercedes SL, I should have plugged it into the A-Shore, of which I don't have because I don't have that standard SL setup. So I'm going to go back to A-Shore. I'm going to tell them that. Hopefully they might be able to send me out the right harness, but I'm going to have to call it a day at the moment until I get the right harness to fully install it. Otherwise, I think I probably would have had this done in the next hour. Such a shame. Anyway, you live and learn. So hopefully you subscribed and you'll get notified when I do eventually get round to installing it. What a shame. Oh well, let's put it all back together again. Look at this, I even put in the surround. It fits in there beautifully. And the stereo, of course, that would then sit in there like that. Oh, it would have been perfect if only I got the right harness. It looks amazing, by the way. Well, I hope you subscribed, then you'll get notified when I do get the right harness. But I'm going to put my car back together again now.